One of the many awards handed out in an NBA season is the most improved player, and it's always fun to predict which guys will take the biggest leap in an upcoming season. I've done this a couple of years running now, and it's one of my favorite videos to make. So that's what I'll be looking at in today's video. 5 NBA players who I believe will break out in the 2022 NBA season. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe. For more NBA content like this, I'm trying to hit 18,000 subscribers by September, so all support would be greatly appreciated. Just a quick note, this video is not in any order, so keep that in mind while watching. Anyway, with that all being said, let's get right into this top 5. Number 5. Isaiah Stewart, Detroit Pistons. In every season, there are always multiple players who are in their sophomore season that take a sizable leap. That's just a trend that seems to happen in every NBA season. And in my eyes, the sophomore who's going to take the biggest leap out of them all is Isaiah Stewart from the Detroit Pistons. Stewart finished off his rookie year strongly, averaging 10 and 8 and nearly 2 blocks per game in his last 30 games of the season, which are all significantly higher numbers than his rest of season averages. This sudden leap towards the end of the season was because after fighting for minutes with Mason Plumlee and Blake Griffin to begin the year, Stewart was able to get more chances in the latter half of the season after Griffin was moved to Brooklyn, and the Pistons decided to go all in on their rebuild and give more minutes to their younger players. With that opportunity for more game time, Stewart took full advantage of it and proved to everyone he would be a quality NBA player. And now, after draft night, it seems like Isaiah Stewart is going to get even more minutes moving forward and probably earn a role as a permanent starter, as the Pistons traded away Mason Plumlee. So again, Stewart is going to have plenty of chances to grow next season and develop with experience. I think Stewart is also going to be a major beneficiary of playing alongside Cade Cunningham. Cunningham's talents fit in really well to that core in Detroit, and I think the play style of Stewart, a hard screening, well-rounded finisher big man, is going to prove to be a surrounding talent that Cade will utilize well. Overall for Stewart, he showed last season how good he can be when given the opportunity, and now with the off-season that Detroit has had, Stewart is walking into a season where he's guaranteed to get more shots, more minutes, and a greater opportunity to shine. He's got arguably the best rookie alongside him, and that can only make a positive impact. So for that reason, I think it's fair to say that Isaiah Stewart will be a top breakout candidate for the 2022 NBA season. As of right now, I can see Stewart posting a double-double of around 12 to 13 points and 11 to 15 rebounds per game next season. Number 4. Kyle Kuzma, Washington Wizards. The Wizards picked up Kyle Kuzma this offseason through the Westbrook trade, and I believe this is a major opportunity for Kuzma to prove everyone wrong and show how good he can really be. As inconsistent as Kuzma's been the past couple seasons on LA, and as much as Lakers fans despise him, I don't think he's that bad, which is why I can see him having a breakout season. Like, yeah, he's not great by any stretch and has plenty of things to improve on, but he's still relatively young, barely 26, with a ton of potential. In a new role as a starter for the Wizards and with no pressure on him to be great, he could flourish. This wouldn't be the first time we've seen something like this for an ex-Laker too. We've seen plenty of former young talents of the Lakers do the same thing with a change of scenery out of LA, namely Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and D'Angelo Russell. All 3 of these guys took off in their careers once departing the Lakers, with the majority of them becoming all-stars, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see a similar thing happen with Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma is going to be behind one of the best offensive weapons in the league in Bradley Beal, providing he isn't traded. That's going to be a valuable learning experience for him and a chance for him to develop his offensive arsenal with one of the best. Again, Kuzma is still young and barely hitting his prime. I think if we're patient this season and let Kuzma be him, he could develop into something really solid for the Wizards and help push them towards a playoff spot. I mean, this is a guy who played a pretty large role on a championship team a couple of years back. He shouldn't be expected to be an all-star, but I think we can expect him to positively impact the Wizards moving forward. He's got a decent offensive game and the tools physically to be at least an average defender, so I truly do think we could see a coming-of-age type season for Kuzma next year. Again, there's definitely some question marks around his ability, but I'm going to be more optimistic here and say we get a good year out of Kuzma in 2022. I can see Kuzma averaging anywhere between 15 and 22 points per game next season on better efficiency, as he's in a system now that provides a lot more spacing than the Lakers had in the past season or two. Number 3. Terrence Mann, LA Clippers. The Clippers had their best season in franchise history last season, but have yet again suffered from the Clippers curse as superstar Kawhi Leonard went down with an injury during the playoffs that could see him sidelined for almost the entirety of next season, knowing him. Though the Clippers should certainly still be playoff locks for next season, the duo of Paul George and Reggie Jackson looks to be solid. A player that I think will help keep the Clippers in playoff contention next season and potentially break out with Kawhi Leonard out of the picture is Terrence Mann. Mann is one of the more underrated players in the league, and statistically is one of the most impactful players for the Clippers. We saw him shine in Game 6 against the Jazz, where he shocked the NBA world by lighting up Utah for 39 points in a comeback win, to move on to the team's first ever Western Conference Finals in their history, and throughout the playoffs, he lifted when it mattered the most. Again, the biggest reason why I see him breaking out next season is because of his much larger role on the team that he will get with Kawhi sidelined. When Mann played over 30 minutes per game last season, he averaged numbers of 13.4 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per night, and was able to maintain his efficiency while doing so, still consistently shooting above 50% from the field. In those 15 games that he played over 30 minutes, he also shot a ridiculously high percentage from deep, 46% from 3. While I definitely don't expect that insane level of efficiency to continue when he undoubtedly receives increased minutes next season, I think it just proves he can still perform at an exceptional level for a role player when more shots are sent his way and more court time is given to him so he can shine. Again, with Mann being the likeliest candidate to step up and fill Kawhi Leonard's role next season, as previewed in the playoffs, it would not be a surprise to me at all if he was able to average numbers similar to those that I just discussed. Something like 13 to 15 points per game on 50, 40, 80 shooting splits. And with that, we could perhaps even see T-Man as a legitimate candidate for the most improved player in 2022. And for that reason, I have him as a major breakout prediction for next season. Number 2. Kevin Porter Jr., Houston Rockets. KPJ was a mid-season addition to the Rockets rebuilding roster in 2021, and as soon as he joined the team, he looked like a steal. The Rockets practically got him for nothing from Cleveland, and right now, it seems he could be the franchise cornerstone of the future. Unfortunately for Porter, he wasn't given a lot of time to fully break out last season, as again, he was a mid-season addition to the Rockets and spent a decent length of time in the G League for the Rockets affiliate team. Add some inconsistency at the highest level to begin with as well, and you end up with a promising season from KPJ that showed some flashes of amazing play that Houston fans like myself are tantalizing to see more of in the upcoming season. And to be completely honest, I think we're going to see a lot of those flashes again in 2022. The roster currently built around KPJ is amazing and should allow him to unleash his best self. KPJ demonstrated an increasing ability to playmake last season, particularly out of the pick and roll, so having more sets run between him and a healthy Christian Wood is only going to do positive things for him. He's also being paired with some new young gun rooks who can be brilliant off-ball players around him, as Jalen Green and Josh Christopher in particular have elite athleticism that make them incredibly capable and dangerous off-ball weapons that KPJ can hit up with his ever-improving passing. Just to highlight that, I mean, Porter Jr. went from averaging 2 assists per game in Cleveland to over 6 in Houston. KPJ is already just beginning to take his leap into stardom, and it's really exciting to see. Another big part of Junior's game is obviously his scoring, and we've seen how brilliant he is at it. Like when he lit up one of the best perimeter defenders in the league in Drew Holiday for 50 points. It was an incredible performance and truly highlights the potential he has to unleash more often. I'll again note how a healthy roster will be beneficial to KPJ breaking out to next season. He's got so many quality pieces around him that it's hard to not see him taking a major scoring leap overall and be able to increasingly fill the assist column as well. His overall stats from this past season may look mediocre, 16 points a game on below average efficiency. But if you solely look at his games once he returned from the G League, his efficiency skyrocketed as his confidence grew. Considering the kind of roster that he had around him back then, and then looking at the core of the Rockets now, there's no doubt that the squad has improved, and in turn, that should allow for rapid development from KPJ, and potentially allow for a breakout season, which as a Rockets fan, I am so excited for. I expect Porter to average 20 plus points per game next season and 7 to 8 assists, all things going as planned. He has a ton of potential to break out next season, and I can't wait to see how he plays. Number 1. Jordan Poole, Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors overall had an underwhelming 2021 season, missing the playoffs, though that was largely not their fault. One young bright spot for the team though last season was Jordan Poole, and I think he has potential to reach new heights in 2022, and potentially even become a 6th Man of the Year candidate on a now healthy Warriors side. Jordan Poole struggled to start his career, shooting horrendously to begin it, and it seemed like that trend would continue throughout this season until Poole had his stint in the G League, like KPJ. While there, it became evident that Poole had been utilized incorrectly by Golden State, and that he was much more effective as a ball handler and someone who controlled the offense rather than a spot-up shooter in the corner. Once returning to the big league, his confidence had grown, and Steve Kerr got him rolling in a more suitable role. And since, Poole has not stopped improving. Since returning from the G League on March 1st, Poole had a 38-point game, 4 games scoring 20 plus points, and another 5 games where he scored 15 or more. That's just a sign of what's to come on a more consistent basis next season. The Warriors had an interesting offseason too. Not exactly a great one, but what they did do was seemingly open up plenty of time for Poole to play point guard off the bench. There are not many guys on this roster at all who are going to take his minutes away outside of Steph. So I think it's evident that the Warriors want to use him as a key element of their second unit offense moving forward. For that reason, I have firm belief that Jordan Poole will continue to elevate his game next season and have a breakout year, and in the process, probably put himself in the conversation for the 6th Man of the Year as well as the most improved player. Compared to other guys on this list, he probably won't break out as hugely, considering he is behind Clay, Steph, and Wiggins at the moment. But I definitely think he is capable of averaging 15 to 20 points per game next season, and I'd say he does that on league average shooting. As someone who was counted out heavily by fans early on in his career, this turnaround would be great to see for J. Poole, and one that I am confident we will see happen in 2022. And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? Do you think these players will break out next season to you? Is there anyone that I missed on this list? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.